Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world, and great people of Africa. I welcome you to this program. While you are joining this program, share the video, invite others to join wherever you are watching from. Share this video, invite others to join. Of course, we must continue. We must continue. If you understand that, I just said what is going to be your New Year's resolution. That's actually the question I ask you there. But unu na-anya ọ bụrụ ife mvụ ọ bụrụ ife nji maka ya wee bịa. Ọ bụrụ maka ife ahụ m dere ebe ahụ ka nji maka ya wee bịa maka na New Year gbakwa ọkụ. Even inene na my dictionary enwere ihe dịka New Year dị ya. Because na the New Year ndị ọcha wetara anyị abụrụ ya wụ New Year anyị. Anyị adịghị efolo enwe ife ndị ọcha kpọ Gregory calendar, so anyị adịghị efolo ya. So ife nji wee dee ife ahụ maka na anyị ma m na ndị nwe ebe anyị na-ekwu okwu ji anyị n'ọrụ. So ife ọbụla idere ede kpọta afa ebe isi afa Naijiria afa ife ọbụla idere ede kpọta afa ndị zoo afa ebido wee mewe ihe ha kwesịrị ime, mana anyị ma na ha flag go our Facebook ọ bụrụ maka ife ahụ m dere ebe ahụ ka m ji maka ya wee bịa, maka na n'uye gbakwa ọkụ. Even inene na my wee mee ka ndị anụnwa na-alụ ụfọ ọlụ, rọbọt a na-alụ ụfọ ọlụ, ka ọ ma na anyị ga-agbago ya isi a ka ọ dịtụ obere confuse. Mana ka o si na-adị, ị na-abata ị na-atụsa ozi a, ị na-abata ị na-atụsa ozi, ọ nwe ajụjụ nchọ ka m jụọ ndị ụlọikpe nọ na Naịjirịa. Ezigbote ajụjụ dị m oke mkpa nchọ njụ ndị ụlọikpe nọ na Naịjirịa, maka na ị na-anya ịfụ that na ikpe Maazị Nnamdi Kanu, otu ndị ụlọikpe kachasị ụlọikpe si wee kpee ya, according to fanwa si na ụlọikpe fa kachasị ụlọikpe, otu fa si kpee ikpe ahụ, ị ga-aghọta na aghọrọ ikpe ahụ n'enu enu. Anya nwa ka m ga-eji wee weta ikpe ahụ ọzọ, ngụpụta ya, anyị kwuo na nwa ya akpa nkata ka esi wee kpee nyawa ikpe. Ịfụ na aghọ dị ikpe n'enu enu. Ịfụ that na ife niile anyị na-ekwu maka Naịjirịa, fancha niile wee eziokwu. O nwere ebe na-alụ ọrụ na Naịjirịa, o nwero ebe ị gaa na-alụ ọrụ na Naịjirịa. So that is the reason why, of course, regardless of what, anyị agaghị ahafụ mgbagbu, anyị ga-eji mgbagbu ghara ọgụ, because na anyị na-ekwu okwu, onwe ndị anyị na-esendịrị meseji, onwe ndị anyị na-ekwu jere okwu, onye nwa mee anyị ga-eji anyị na-echetakwa asụsụ anyị na-echetakwa asụsụ nke anyị ga-asụ ka onye ọbụla wee nụ. So great and wonderful people, while you are joining us, share this video, invite others to join. Wherever you are watching from, share the video, invite others to join. You are welcome to this program. You are welcome to this program. Share the video, invite others to join. We're going to begin just in 20 seconds. Okay, welcome. Share the video, invite others to join. Before you share the video, kindly like the video before you do the sharing, because if you do the sharing without liking the video, Facebook might not release it. It might be wherever you share it, but they will not show it to anybody. So that is something that you should understand, and it is very, very important. And very important that we need to understand. There is something we need to understand, and that thing we need to understand is that what transpired on the 15th of December 2023 in the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Those are the things that we are going to read out to the world, so that the whole world will now, we are going to read it out to the world. Then we ask Britain if it is the way the justice system in Britain operates. Because if you look at what is happening in Nigeria, you'll understand that Nigeria's structure is more like the dubious structure of Britain. Like it is supposed to be like British structure now, but it is the dubious part of British structure. That's exactly what Nigeria's structure stands for. And the reason why I said this is that everything works in Britain. The government of Britain, they are actually patriotic to Britain. Those holding position of power and leadership in Britain, they are patriotic to their country. That is the reason why, if they cannot do it, they resign. If you find a Briton who is in the position of leadership and they find out there is a lot of loopholes, they cannot fill the gap, they will devote themselves and they will resign. But in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole, it becomes a problem for a person whom you actually, call leaders to deliver the service that they are supposed to be delivering. Not only that they will not deliver this service, they will not want to come down from that high horse where they have placed themselves. That is the reason why they will continue to violate the right of ordinary people on the ground. That is the reason why we must actually present what we see in the Supreme Court of Appeal verdict against Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and against the Appeal Court verdict. Then we are going to now ask ourselves, between the Appeal Court and Supreme Court, which of them is more learned? Which of them is more learned in law? It is very, very important. We might call Supreme Court a Supreme Court because it is seen as the apex court of the land, but what actually, you know, the work of this apex court can actually, relegate them to zero. The work that they do is capable of relegating them to zero, because that is exactly where they have placed themselves. From 15th of December, they have shown that they are ignorant of the fact that you cannot break the law to uphold the law. They have shown that somebody can commit criminality in order to say that they are upholding the law. They have shown that Nigeria is actually a nation that does not obey the rule of law. Facebook, when I talk about this Nigeria, it is not your business. Or YouTube, when I talk about Nigeria, it is not your business. Facebook, it is not the business of any of you, because you are not a Nigerian and you are not in Nigeria. So if I talk about Nigeria, you made it my country from Europe. So when I talk about it, you don't need to reduce the number. You don't need to manipulate the number or play games. This is the country where we come from, and it is hurting us. So if you manipulate the number and manipulate all these things, it means that you are an evil platform, and you continue to suppress the truth from coming out. How can you break a law in order to uphold the law? And at the end of the day, you will come back to tell us you should be law abiding. Who does that? If it is the way it is done in Europe, then condone it while we are actually talking about it the way it is happening to us. Why can't we let our voice out? Why can't we? So it is very, very important that we bring back that Supreme Court verdict the way it is given. We bring it out and read it out to the world, because what we are doing this time around, it is massive exposition and massive response to every attack from Nigeria state. Be this attack coming, even if this attack, if it is coming from their recruited, bunch of what I called unemployed people, which they have recruited in the media space to continue to malign the truth that is being spoken, or to continue to suppress the truth by overturning the truth, and use their conspiracy to cover the truth. But that is the reason why we are going to be, playing this formation, massive exposition and massive defense. One thing we should understand is that Nigeria is a nation that does not, that even their judiciary does not obey the rule of law. The judiciary does not obey the law. The judiciary does not, will I say that the judiciary of Nigeria does not know the law? Or the judiciary of Nigeria undermines the law? Or will I say the judges undermines the law? And when they undermines the law, it places the nations in a limbo, whereby there is nobody who is safe except those who controls the process of the law, and those who controls them. Because if you see those who controls the process of the law, there are people who controls them, which are in the upper echelon. And those people are the reason why you will never have a better nation in Nigeria. Just a few months ago, February 2023, election was rigged. Or before February 2023, let us actually start from the beginning. Before February 2025, Is it February 25, the time of election? Correct me if I'm wrong. I am not good with chronology. But before then, election was looming in Nigeria. We heard many, celebrities. We heard from many bloggers. We heard from many people who are actually clamoring for get your PVC, do this. It is time for a change. It is time for a change. Get your PVC, get your voters card, and you need to vote wisely. This and that. We heard all that for the whole 2 years. People clamored for get your PVC. And we saw even where they are dumping people's PVC so that it doesn't get to the hands of some people. We saw irregularities during the time of getting your PVC. All those celebrities who are saying get your PVC, all these people, bloggers who are saying get your PVC, all these musicians who were saying get your PVC, where are they today? They are nowhere to be found. Some of them must have received a phone call. Just drop it. I know your problem. Your problem is money, poverty. Let me sort you out. That's what happens to some of them. And you will never hear from them again. You will never hear from them again. But they were clamoring for get your PVC, get your PVC. Since 2020, get your PVC. 2021, get your PVC. 22, get your PVC. 23, get your PVC. And that 23 came and gone. Getting your PVC did not change the faith of the nation, did not change the status quo of the country. Rather, it actually proved to you that you can watch them while they, manipulate the voting system. You can watch them while they manipulate the voting system under democratic dispensation. Have you now seen that they have deprived you the right to vote and the right to be voted for? Now, in a nation whereby you have equal citizen or you have equal shareholding, and you are deprived the right to vote, because every election malpractice that is done deprives you, disenfranchise you, your right to vote. But many people undermine this right to vote and they don't understand it. Now, after that, all these people clamoring for get your PVC, get your PVC. What is the catch now? What is the new story now? They are nowhere to be found because some of them knows that once they clamor get your PVC, support this particular person. If it doesn't come from here, it will come from there. They are establishing double-edged sword, which is if their candidate did not win, the other candidate will compensate them and tell them, no, don't motivate the youth. Let us try to fix this Nigeria. That's exactly the way it has always been. And that is the way it will continue to be until the people who call themselves human, Homo sapiens, they begin to reason like Homo sapiens with a large brain. Because the people you found in Nigeria, 200 million people, they will be there like people who cannot, who are helpless. 200 million people helpless. Today, the Arewas are crying because of the tragic circumstances that they have found themselves into in the northern Nigeria. Parents are crying every day in the northern Nigeria. Children are crying every day because maybe they must have lost their parents. Parents lose their children. They will be crying every day. And we have come on several occasions to inform you that what you see that people are reporting the terrorist activities in the northern Nigeria has been curbed, and it is only in the eastern Nigeria that they are having problems. On several occasions, I told you that these are fallacy. And that is exactly what it is. It is all about to make sure that they profile the eastern region so that they will continue their military mayhem in the eastern region unabated. Now you will see that the northern people are now realizing that nobody speaks for them. They decided to wake up and start, crying. And the reason why they started crying, because they are full of hypocrisy. These are full of hypocrites. The reason why they are crying is that because there is no Janjaweed in the position of leadership. Of course, we know the people who are controlling Tinubu that is in the position of leadership are direct power. It is not Janjaweed controlled, because they have seen that the Janjaweeds, they are now waking up. They are now realizing that there is something going on. So they have to now make sure that whoever sits there will get an order from the above, not order from the second hand. That's exactly what you see that is going on in Nigeria. That is the reason why you are hearing the proposal of signing this new bill that enables same-sex marriage in Nigeria. The bill that was never discussed in Nigeria. Something like this has never been discussed in Nigeria. But you have actually found someone who is getting order direct from above. That is the reason why you see the northern people are, marching against the new bill. Ka emezie nwoke a na-akpọ nwoke ibia ntu, nwaanyị a na-alacha nwaanyị ibia atụ. Ọlọala na-ayị ndị a, ala na-ayị ndị a. And though ife a na-eme ifu ndị ji iwe na-asị Christianity na-anaba anyị, you don't blame them in a hurry. You don't blame them in a hurry. Because so ife niile akafa ji bịa. And otu anụnwa now, mgbe ife mere anyị wụ na mgbe ndị a ji Christianity fa abịa, anyị ewekiro up chụbafa n'oge. Kịta ha ewelugo nwoke ịla nwoke ibia, welu nwaanyị ịla nwaanyị ibia. Ejiri gị ya na-abịa na small. Don't forget that 3 months ago, ejide 200 people ebe nwoke na nwoke na-eme wedding. Nke ahụ owuho, it doesn't trend. Are you aware that one of my page was dropped? Maka na nkwulu maka Bobrisky. One of my page, I did it, it's not Judge Money page. That page has more than 5,000 followers. Immediately in post ife maka Bobrisky, Bob, one Bob, they dropped that page. Nobody knows about it. Drop other page. Maka na ife fa na-achọ ka na promote to that guy. So that ụmụ gị na-eto nta asị gị na ha chee dị ka Bob. Because na Bob ji na ego. Because agụụ anụ na-agụ gị. Agụụ a na-agụ ndị mmadụ ga-amewezi na ha chee dị ka Bob. So fa drop page maka na m kwuru okwu enwee ife Donald Trump kwu maka ndị a na-akpọ ntu. O kwuche ya nweta vidiyo wetezie nke Bob kwu na o jego kọtụ fụ ihe o ji amụ ya. Na o jego kọtụ fụ ya na ọ wụzi nwaanyị full. Wee weta ya wee were ya mee educate ya our people. Post when at that page. That page, Facebook, that is, I cannot post anything there. From there, that Facebook page disappeared. That Facebook page, the name of the Facebook page was MNK IPOB and MNK IPOB Biafra DOS, something like that. That page just they drop it. Maka na ha chọrọ ka anyị na-ekwu ife ga-enyere ụmụnna anyị aka. Ife eji desa alụba anwụ di ya. Ụmụ gị na-etolite ha na-afụ na ọ na-eme ọfụma. And ifu na ụmụ ga-asị, hey, this is my role model. Achọrọ m ịdị ka Bob. Ife a bụ alụlụ mana na ụmụ ife ekwensu na-ewetara unu na unu. Unu ga people gara afia na say is how owe na-eyi efe ụmụ nwaanyị onwero from onwero onwe. that you need to know that the people who are controlling this man in the position of leadership is from the order from the above. It is not Fulani. That's why Fulanis are crying, because they are not in charge. The people who are in charge are your colonizers. This is the, this is the aftermath of the election rigging and all these things that was covered up during the shenanigan of forging certificate, United States indictment, this and that. It shows you that the people ruling you, if not UK Britain, it is UK Britain that is actually sitting in the position of leadership in Nigeria. Ever since you started seeing presidents in Nigeria, did you ever see a proposal of bill to sign into law that grant these people same-sex marriage in Nigeria? Have you ever seen that? No, you have never seen that. You never see something. Ofu mbosi jos nwa ga-esi skuulu na-anata efụzia na ike a na-eri eri, ọ na-agba mmiri iko that day. Na mgbe o nwere ike ọ bụrụ mgbe nke isi gị ga-emepe, o nwere ike ọ bụrụ mgbe nke ị ga-emepe uche. And I want you to know that anything that is actually trending in the world, once it gets to Nigeria, the trend goes into madness. You don't know. I see that na ndị ọcha na-agba ọtọ today. Ndị ọcha na-agba ọtọ today. Ndị Nigeria na-ekirifa mgbọsị ọwụ na ofu onye Nigeria mere na free. Ifụzia awụ na ndị ọcha na-eyi pant. Ifụzia ndị Nigeria eyifuzie pant gbara ọtọ na-esezi original. Because alafa na afọ eke ekwuru ọbịa. Owu dị ala na-ayi ndị Nigeria. And onye nwa now ka chi use this man, old man. A man that forgets himself, even in the podium. That is the man they gave you as a president. It is the man they gave you as a president. And I want you to ask yourselves, why is it always these people making sure they select the worst of them all to be given to you? The worst of them all. And if you think about it, you will find out that it is quite, if you look at it, it is a problem of Africa. This is not just a problem of Nigeria. The power that is holding every African country down, the only thing they do is to make sure that they pick up a candidate that is going to, that they have a leverage on. A candidate that they are having a leverage on. And that candidate, that leverage will enable them to control him. They will just control him anyhow. That is the reason why during the time of Nigger coup, he wanted to go to war. If not the backlash he was receiving from not this backlash did not only come from ECOWAS, it came from other African countries. Everywhere, backlash. Odoazu, Bulomia. As Gaiman, Onye ka ndị ọcha ji propose Zulu LGBTQ law bill to be signed into law. The northern Nigeria is now protesting against it. The northern Nigeria is protesting against it because it has never happened. And when Bonye proposed, Uganda, you see today, they actually refused. With everything they have, they refuse to sign that into the law. It is being proposed to Nigeria. 200 million people. Who one man decide everything. One man decide everything. If you challenge him, you go to court. He actually controls the court. To an extent that the Supreme Court, the apex court of the land, does not understand the meaning of jurisdiction, does not understand the importance of jurisdiction when it comes to law. Now let us read that verdict given by the Supreme Court so that let us find out if we are actually, whether we are lying against the Supreme Court or the Supreme Court made fool of themselves. Let us find out. Let me bring it to the screen so that you will read also. Let me pick it up from local news, from channels. Now, just one moment. Let us read. This is it. Supreme Court insists Nnamdi Kanu must face trial. Overturns a court judgment. Supreme Court insists Nnamdi Kanu must face trial. Overturns a judgment in upholding the government appeal. The Supreme Court held that Kanu must face trial. Now, let's scroll down. Supreme Court, the Niger. Okay, the Supreme Court. Just one moment. The Supreme Court has upheld the federal government's appeal challenging the verdict of the appeal court, which dismissed the charge against Nnamdi Kanu. Okay, that is number one. Oh, what the hell? What? A moment. Okay, there is a problem here. I'm struggling to keep it together. All right, now let's continue. Sorry for that interruption. In upholding the government appeal, the Supreme Court held that Kanu must face trial at the Federal High Court. Supreme Court, it was from Federal High Court to Appeal Court, from Appeal Court to Supreme Court. Supreme Court now back to the lower court. Now let's continue to read. The Supreme Court, in the judgment delivered by the Justice Emmanuel Ajim, but prepared by Justice Garba Lawal, held that the Court of Appeal was wrong to rule that Kanu could not be tried again based on the illegality perpetrated against him by the federal government following the invasion of his home. Did you see that? Let me actually remind you, take you to the memory lane. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was actually given bail in 2015. Waiting for his court date, he was given a bail. When he was arrested for this, because he was calling for a better deal. First of all, he proposed that there be a restructuring so that we will go back to regionalism, where everybody manage their things and pay tax to the central government. Now, the proposal becomes something that this government refused. He never called for the breakup. He never called for secession. He proposed that be a restructuring that will lead Nigeria back to 1967 constitution, which is about regionalism. Nigeria decided to, stand up against him. Nigeria's status quo decided to kick against him, because if you go back to regionalism, you will have economic growth. If you go back to regionalism, there will be a healthy competition in the country so that everybody will make use of what they have. If you go back to regionalism, in Biafra land, you were supposed to have seaport, because if you don't have seaport, you are going to Lagos to go and build their economy, while yours is going to be in decay. So now, if you go back to regionalism, you have access to enact a law that will be favorable to you. That was his proposal. He never asked for the breakdown or breakup of Nigeria. He was never into secessionist movement. And because of that, when when IPOB, led by him, go out on a peaceful protest to create awareness for the cause that they are championing, the Nigeria will release the army. Nigeria, led by Buhari, release the army to kill, to shoot at innocent, peaceful protesters holding a flag. They were not holding a gun. They were not holding a knife. They were not even holding a stick. They were holding a flag, protesting for awareness purpose. They were shot at. Now, when the awareness, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu discovered that this issue of restructuring, it is not what they are looking for. The Nigeria does not want to entertain it. Then he went to start creating awareness for a total secession. You know what Nigeria government did? Nigeria government picked him up because he was creating his awareness from ground zero in Nigeria. They picked him up, tortured him, detained him. After detaining him, they went to court. Court granted him bail, and the bail conditions, he was keeping the bail condition. He was not violating the bail condition. Nigeria government, because the bail condition does not allow him to speak, Nigeria government started peddling all manner of lies against him. They started peddling all manner of lies against him in the media space, in the Nigerian newspapers, in the Nigerian news. Now, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was still keeping up to his bail condition. And at the end of this day, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in 2017, he was still keeping up. In 2017, he was preparing to go to court, maybe in few months to come, or in few months to come. Nigeria government, Nigeria military was ordered to go and eliminate him in his palace. His father was a traditional ruler. You can never do that in any part of Africa country. A traditional ruler, military just invade their house, the palace, started shooting sporadically. And the plans of the military was one, to make sure they eliminate him so that he does not go out there in the court to start trial, because they saw that he is within his right in championing self-determination. So he is within his right. Self-determination is not a crime in any law, in any part of the world. Even Geneva's Convention, it is not against self-determination. Universal Declaration supports self-determination. So why is self-determination of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu becomes a crime to the extent of Nigeria deploying military called Operation Python Dance to go and eliminate anybody that is moving in that building. You know how many people they eliminated? 28 able-bodied men they killed in the house of Mazen Namde Kano. If they could kill 28 who insisted that before you killed my leader, you should go through me first. Of course, these are animals that was deployed in the house of a human being, in a palace, without actually respecting the traditions of the land, without even respecting the, the man as a traditional ruler, the house as a palace. And through that, it is only a tree that learns that it is going to be cut off, and the tree will stay put. Only a tree, not a human being. So in that regard, Nigeria government failed because he was able to escape. He was able to escape while they were busy shooting this able-bodied man in his compound, in his house, in the palace of the king. Nigeria government failed to kill him, and he escaped. And even the time he escaped, Nigeria government did not know how he escaped. That's when they say that this man jumped bail. So in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the world, in your own opinion, in your own judgment, is that jumping bail? When you run for your life, is that jumping bail? A person that was able to travel without a passport, do you know the meaning of that? It shows that he was running for his life. It is official that they wanted to kill him. He was able to go to Europe without a passport because he was running for his life. Now, that's when the awareness went to the next level because he has nothing to lose. He's a wanted man already. He is wanted to be eliminated. He is not just wanted to just put in prison or to pet him. He was wanted to be eliminated. Now he started agitating seriously for secession because that is the only solution. That is the only solution. So in that regard, they've been looking for how to bring him back home, and to kill him. Remember, they couldn't do it in Britain because he is a citizen of Britain, and they know there is no crime. You can't commit crime, such crime in Europe. But Europeans will enable you, will assist you, will aid you, will abet you to commit it in Africa. It doesn't matter. All the time he was in Britain, they couldn't do anything because British and Britons understand the law, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the right to self-determination. They understand it very well, so they cannot react otherwise. Even though it is not going well with them, but they couldn't react otherwise until they lured him to Kenya. Kenya, African country, where crime is prevalent, where crime can be committed without somebody being called to account. That is Africa, the land of corruption, the land of, the land where people stretch their muscles when it comes to their people, where they flex their muscles and they actually flex their authority. But when they go to the big world, when they go to represent you in the international stage, all of them will become like a chicken. They will start complaining. They will only cry. They will cry, and they cry just for you to clap for them because they know you are naive and gullible. That's what they go to, international big stage to do. They are not going there to represent you. They are not going there to speak boldly on behalf of you and their country. They go there to cry. But when it comes to things that is between you and them, you that gave them the power to be on top of you, to be your leader, they will know how to be brutal. They will know how to even break the law in order to stop you from speaking the truth. That's what they do. But they will never break the law to stop exploitation or Western hegemony on them. They will never. But when you are speaking the truth, they will break the law even to destroy you. Now you look at it, you find out that this man was lured to Kenya where crime is prevalent. He was kidnapped. He was tortured for 8 days illegally. And it was an extraordinary rendition to Nigeria. Remember that what we just read from this piece, it is talking about the invasion of his home. And the Supreme Court said, even though, let me read it again. Let me read it again, what your Almighty Supreme Court said here, because it is only laughable. The Supreme Court has upheld the federal government appeal challenging the verdict of the appeal court, which dismissed the charges against Nnamdi Kanu. Listen attentively. In upholding the government appeal, the Supreme Court held that Kanu must face trial at the Federal High Court. The Supreme Court, in judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Ajim, but prepared by Justice Garba Lawal, held that the Court of Appeal was wrong to rule that Kanu could not be tried again based on the illegality perpetrated against him by the federal government following the invasion of his home. Remember, we are on invasion of his home. That's where we are. Did you see how I just narrated the long story? I made it short so that we will be able to, put it into the story and continue. Now, invasion of his house by the federal government, who is charging him of committing a crime for believing in self-determination. Now, the federal government went to eliminate him out of the book, off the book, through their military, and he ran for his life. The same man who ran for his life, the Supreme Court said that the appeal court ruled wrongly because he was running for his life. He was running for his life. Now, this case was tried in Umuahia, right? In Umuahia. Where is that judgment given in Umuahia? Where was the judgment? Because it was tried in High Court Umuahia, where a judgment was given that federal government should compensate Mazen Nnamdi Kanu for the invasion of his house and traumatizing, the parents to the extent of the both parents died and buried in the same day. They were buried the same day because of the trauma of what transpired in the palace. They were buried the same day, mother and father. And the Nigeria court still tells us that we know the crime perpetrated by the Nigeria who is the one, the complainant, the complainer. We know the crime they committed, but we can, of course, they didn't say anything. We cannot do anything. But now, even though they tried to kill you, you ran for your life. Even though it led to the death of your parents, even though it led to the death of 28 able-bodied men in your house, it does not matter. All that matters is that we are going to overturn the verdict given by appeal court, that you are going back to face trial in the lower court. The same trial that you faced, and it was quashed by the lower court because there was a crime committed against you by Nigeria state. This is about invasion of house. We are coming back to the extraordinary rendition. Let us read further, because I want you to judge it one after another. If in your country or where you are watching from, if the law is actually working like that, I want you to indicate in that comment section. Don't be shy, so that we will know. If you are watching from US, Europe, anywhere, indicate in the comment section. Let us know if the law is working in like that. If you're watching on Twitter or also, indicate, or YouTube, indicate. Let us see if the law where you are work like that. When you release somebody on bail, you go back to kill them and they run for their life. Now you say that they jump bail. You say that they are in contempt of court. How can somebody you went to kill be in a contempt of court? How can? That is the reason why the learned judges from the appeal court, who understood the law, decided to give the verdict that was delivered, to say, because of this, you cannot try this man. And the so-called apex court of the land overturned the judgment because they believe they can. Apex court of sometimes something that is the highest can even, bring themselves to be, to juvenile. Adult brings themselves to behave like juvenile. Look at this. Let us continue to read. Justice Lawal said that no Nigerian law was cited in the suit seeking Kanu's release on the ground of unlawful abduction from Kenya. I don't know if that is the truth. I don't know if that is the truth, but I know and I've heard where I've heard discussion of establishing a suit against the unlawful abduction from Kenya. I don't know how it went, but if the Supreme Court to say that they have not cited the suit seeking Kanu's release on the ground of unlawful abduction from Kenya. Now, let us now go there. If there is no suit cited by the Supreme Court, then on what ground did appeal court give the verdict saying that there is no jurisdiction to try this case in Nigeria court? Because that was the issue raised during this process of the even lower court to the higher court, which is the appeal court. It was the issue raised. So how can Supreme Court say they have not cited such a case? So if that issue was raised, by the lawyers representing Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, what for other formalities is the Supreme Court looking for? So that you will go and establish another suit on its own. The one that was established in Umuahia, Supreme Court undermined it. High Court Umuahia undermined it. They are not talking about it. The one that was established due to the invasion of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's house. The Supreme Court did not recognize it, but he's telling you he did not cite any suit seeking for release on the ground of unlawful abduction. For you to see how these people, the same thing they did in election tribunal, because the election tribunal tell you that there is no law that says the vote must be uploaded from the polling unit through the beavers. They say there is no law that says that. Just to nullify, because they know that these are the things they're supposed to gazette into law pre-election. But they did not, because they were waiting to rig election and use that as a backup. So in so doing, that will show you that even Supreme Court to follow them to write the judgment in the election tribunal, so that when it comes to Supreme Court, this is something that has has no leave for appeal. So they were waiting. They know it has no prospect. So they were waiting just to kick it back. That's what they did. Now, in this regard, it is something that is very, very contradictory. It is self-contradictory. You don't find any law, you don't find any law that you didn't cite any suit seeking to release him on the ground of unlawful abduction. But there was a suit that actually granted him, that was the suit at Umuahia, rather, which was ruled in favor of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And they asked Nigeria government to compensate him with 500 million. Was it 500? Is it 500 million? Because of the invasion of his house. We didn't cite that suit. We didn't cite Supreme Court ruling on the basis of that judgment. We didn't cite it. No. Now, appeal court is looking forward to cite a case that is seeking for the release on the ground of unlawful abduction from Kenya. Do you understand what I am saying? Unlawful abduction from Kenya was raised in the lower court, which actually the learned judges from the appeal court saw that within the ambit of the law, if a case does not have jurisdiction, you cannot entertain it. That's it. And that is exactly the way it is. If you don't have a jurisdiction to try a case, you cannot entertain it. That's why it was quashed. Now, because they believe they are an apex court, they do what they want. They do as they please without question being asked. No one will question them. After all, there are 200 million people who does not even understand their rights, who does not even know where the limitations of government lies. There are 200 million people sitting on a blind spot in a country that they do not understand the rule of law. Now let's read further. The lawyers, you have heard the appeal court to say that they didn't cite any judgment, which of course we knew, and we know that it was what gave birth to the ruling in the appeal court, but Supreme Court said they don't find it. Now let's continue. According to the court, at the moment, the remedy for such an action is for Kanu to file a civil matter against the act instead of removing the powers of the court to continue with his trial for alleged criminal charges. Now, let us throw this question again. They are looking forward for him to open that as a case or establish a lawsuit against the federal government, a special lawsuit against the federal government in a separate matter, talking about the illegal rendition and the torture from Kenya. That's okay, not a problem. But what about the separate suit that nullified the jumping of bail or being in a contempt of court from Umuahia? What about it? Where did it go? You didn't entertain it, but you want to entertain the one that is not established independently. Have you now seen how the Supreme Court of Nigeria is actually manipulating, the rule of law? Are you now seeing how they are manipulating the rule of law? Because if you look at it, you will understand that the pushing back to tell Mazen Nnamdi Kanu that he needs to go back and face trial on the issue of his, jumping bail, while the court nullify that charges of jumping bail. The court nullified from Umuahia charges of jumping bail because he never jumped bail. He ran for his life. So why did the Supreme Court not entertain it? Because it is a court from Biafra land. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have jurisdiction in Nigeria. It doesn't exist. These are the things you need to be asking yourself. Is this a court? Is this a judgment? what is this? Then you decide by yourself to ask yourself, what exactly am I doing in this place called, in this geopolitical location called Nigeria, that rule of law is making mockery. In fact, the court is making mockery of the rule of law, or making mockery of law itself. The court is contradicting themselves in the name of delivering judgment. You are looking for the one that just happened, a special suit, but you have not seen the one that is already given, the judgment that is already given on the basis of this issue of jumping bail or in a contempt of court. You didn't entertain it, but you want to entertain a new one. For you to understand that it is actually a delay strategy that these people are actually implementing. And as in these people cannot obey the rule of law. How do you think they will obey, or they will acknowledge your vote? How do you think they will acknowledge your vote? The rule of law, law is written. Law is something that is written. It is written. Regardless of the logic, law is written. And with your logic, if your logic is superior than the other logic, it works in the favor of a written law. It does not work in the favor of a memorized law or maybe newly introduced law. It doesn't. Law is written. And you cannot undermine any court in Nigeria, as in every nation. No court can be undermined. So if federal High Court Umuahia is undermined on the basis that they gave a verdict which nullified the claim of the federal government, which states that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is in a contempt of court in 2017, where an attempt to eliminate him was made by the same federal government who granted him bail to court. Now they didn't entertain it. Now let's continue to read so that you will pick up and understand what I am saying. Any person that is actually, learned, or somebody that is truthful to themselves, will now understand where and what we are talking about here. Now, Kanu was not present in court for judgment. The latest okay. Now let me start from top a bit. According to court, at the moment, the remedy for such action for such an action is for Kanu to file a civil matter against the act instead of removing the powers of the court to continue with his trial for alleged criminal charges. So, in this regard, that means it will be a trial. They are suggesting a trial within a trial. Now, if you want to understand what this Supreme Court did here, you will understand that there can be establishment of a trial within a trial. They're supposed to, okay, let's say that Supreme Appeal Court established a trial within a trial to understand that they have no jurisdiction to continue with this matter. Therefore, the case was quashed. So it is like a trial within a trial, which is actually, it is actually obtainable in the law court. A trial within a trial. So now they are looking forward for them to establish a new court case with regards to that. But we have actually nullified it because the one established at Umuahia, which worked in the favor of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, and it nullifies this Supreme Court, sending them back to lower court to stand the trial, because Supreme Court did not actually make reference to that or nullify that case or that judgment given by the Umuahia court against the claim of jumping bail. So that Umuahia court is still standing because Supreme Court did not judge on that. So it means that it is standing. It means that it is acknowledged. So Supreme Court undermining a jurisdiction of a lower court. You can't undermine jurisdiction of a lower court. And if you, of course, you are a Supreme Court, apex court, but you cannot undermine it because it starts from 8 before you count B. It starts from 1 before you count 2. So Supreme Court is actually undermining the lower court judgment. So what is the essence of the existence of the lower court? We know more here. So people are wasting their time using taxpayers' money to pay judges who delivers judgment that is null and void. That's exactly what we are seeing here. Now let us actually look into this matter. Of course, let's continue. They said that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was not present in court for the judgment. The latest development in the case that has lasted for years. Friday's judgment was delivered amid tight security and followed by Ohaneze and some others for Kanu's release. Now let's continue. Kanu, who is the leader of the proscribed secessionist group, have you now seen even the Nigeria media does not obey the rule of law. They call Kanu proscribed, but the court ruled on this case a few months ago that IPOB, the process in which IPOB was proscribed, was illegal. Then this media of Nigeria does not even obey the rule of law because they get their power from the upper echelon. So they don't have to obey the rule of law. The rule of law ruled that IPOB's proscription was not legal. And they are still calling IPOB, they are still calling them terrorists. For you to see that everything that you see happening in Nigeria is upside down. Nothing is working. Nothing is working and nothing will work because it is established for nothing to work, to create an institution called poverty where they will be selecting people to do their dirty job and their biddings. That is the reason why you can never move forward. The rich will continue to get richer. The mafias will continue to get, stronger. The gangsterism will continue to be broadened. The insecurity will continue to ravage you because people are benefiting from all that. Now, let me not digress a lot. Kanu, who is the leader of the proscribed secessionist group, which is an error from the media, calling an organization that is not proscribed, that the court issued a judgment. That means every judgment issued in Biafra land does not follow. All the courts in Biafra land, then they should close. Instead of them being there deceiving themselves, they should all shut down because no one listens to them. No one takes them serious. So what is the essence of them being there? For goodness sake, the proscription of IPOB is illegal, but this channel TV is still calling you proscribed. Okay, let's just ignore it and continue. The indigenous people of Biafra IPOB has been in detention, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, since June 2021 when he was rearrested. He was not rearrested in Kenya. He was not rearrested in Kenya. He was kidnapped in Kenya and brought back to Nigeria. He and his legal team have accused the federal government of abduction. Remember, I want you to pay attention to this. Then you go back to the ruling of the Supreme Court. Now you will understand that there is a trial within the trial in appeal court, which actually led to the delivery of that judgment that quashed the case due to lack of jurisdiction. Now listen to this episode. He said he and his legal team have accused the federal government of abducting him and illegally bringing him to Nigeria. He has challenged the alleged extraordinary rendition in court. So if he has challenged it, I hope you are reading with me. Let me show you, because A Supreme Court is still looking for that judgment to be on a separate incident because they believe that there is no one is paying attention. It is they have the monopoly to lie. They have the monopoly to do what they want. Look at it. Maybe you will be able to read. That's why I bring it closer to you, the highlighted area. I want you to read that place, the highlighted area. Read it. You say, he and his legal team have accused the federal government of abducting him and illegally bringing him to Nigeria. He has challenged the alleged extraordinary rendition in court. So if he challenged it, why is the Supreme Court saying that they are looking forward? They did not cite any of these to be established to challenge it. But it is said that him and his legal team accused the federal government of the extraordinary rendition. He has challenged the alleged extraordinary rendition in court. You see how the media is also biased. When they want to talk about the extraordinary rendition, they call it alleged. They call it alleged. But the ruling given by the court that IPOB is not a terrorist organization, they just say proscribed. They did not say alleged proscribed. Oh God. Hey, I will never meet Nigeria again in my life. God forbid I will never ever meet anybody who will say, in fact, in my next life, I will never be among those who call themselves Nigeria. I will never ever be among them. In fact, instead of me being among the Nigerians again in my next life, let me not come back to this world, because people don't understand the hell they are going through in the name of one Nigeria. People don't understand. When you begin to pay attention to their irregularities, when you begin to pay attention to their crimes, you will understand that everything they do, if you go deep and look toward, you will see self-contradictory. You will see these things they are doing self-contradictive. Now, let us continue to read. Remember that they said that they have challenged it in court, right? They have challenged it in court. Now, let's continue to read. Upon his rearrest in 2021, which is a fallacy from the media, he was arraigned before the Federal High Court, Abuja, on 4 charges of treasonable felony, conspiracy to commit treasonable felony, terrorism, illegal importation of radio equipment, and defamation of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Okay, defamation of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Why is the case of defamation of President Muhammadu Buhari, why did it not gain traction if they wanted to carry out that case? Because Mazen Nnamdi Kanu told you that the man in Aso Rock is not Buhari. Why did they not actually make this case to gain traction to an extent? Because if this case had it gained traction, what was going to be the end game is that there will be a DNA conducted on your president to prove that he is your president. He is not a clone man that was given to you. So why did Nigeria not bring it on? Because they know it will end up in the DNA test being conducted, or they will end up bringing your president for a trial, because nobody is above the law, including the president. They will cross-question him. They will speak Fulfide for him, the real language of Buhari, to see if that Buhari is going to understand that language. Why did he not gain traction? Of course, he wouldn't. He would never gain traction, because they know that whatever that was actually, the claim that was made there, all of them were accurate. It was not false. So let us continue. The one they called treasonable felony, terrorism, is Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, Buhari and his government released the so-called Fulani headers, which are terrorists, because the plan was to Islamize and Fulanize the whole nation that consists of 200 million people, to Fulanize them by sending all these people into different bushes in different geopolitical locations in order, whenever they blow the whistle, they will overrun communities, they will overrun villages, they will overrun states, and before you know it, they will raise their flag, just like the Boko Haram did in Zamfara state, just like the Boko Haram did in the northern Nigeria. They will raise their flag and say they have occupied this area. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu got the intel, saw what is happening. They had already started killing people, going to their farms to farm, killing and using their cattle to destroy farmlands. When you come to challenge them, they eliminate you. You cannot do anything about it. Start picking up dead bodies in areas, in different areas. They were ravaging the northern Nigeria already, because they believe that some of them believe they are more Muslim than the others. Now, coming back to the story, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu decided to establish a security outfit that will make sure that the bushes of Biafra land is safe, because he got the intel from their insiders of their plans. Not only the intels, the evidence of what they have started, killing mothers, raping them, people who are going into their farmland, because of course they don't want you to farm, they want you to depend on them to give you food. So they want to continue to make sure they discourage you from going to farm. They started killing people going to farm. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu rescued our people from that by establishing Eastern Security Network, because he called on the governors, he called on the so-called representatives to make sure that this security threat is curbed, but they were not able to put it in place. He decided to take it onto himself to make sure he secured the land, the bushes where these terrorists were hiding. That's what actually caused, well, that is what they call terrorism. The real terrorists, which Nigeria caught, labeled terrorists, and they are actually downplaying it, calling them bandits. Now, the real terrorists were not called terrorists, though, they were called bandits. But the person who took it upon himself to protect people from terrorism, he was called a terrorist. That's what you see there. That's what you see there. Now, let's continue. The charges were later amended to 15 count, to a 15 bordering on terrorism and membership of a prescribed group. Okay. Justice Binta Nyaku of the trial court had in her ruling dismissed 8 out of the 15 charges, saying that the Mr. Kano had questions to answer in relation to the remaining 7 charges. The lower court quashed 8 out of the 15 count charges, right? The higher court, which is appeal court, quashed the remaining 7. Now, the Supreme Court re-established the remaining 7, sending the case back to the lower court, undermining the higher court and promoting the lower court over the higher court. Okay. As if it's not enough. Let's continue. Dissatisfied with Mr. Kanu appealed to the Court of Appeal, which dismissed the remaining charges and ordered Mr. Kanu release. The appeal court ordered Mr. Kanu release. Listen, if a court ordered for a release of individual, what does the law enforcement do? Obey the law of the court. If they want to appeal, they can appeal, but obey the law of the court. the judgment of the court by releasing him. By releasing him. If they want to appeal, they could appeal. If the appeal is in a hurry, if it was heard, they can rearrest him. That's the way things are done. You don't obey the law of order of the court, and the court is condoning you for not obeying the verdict given by a court. Supreme Court condoned the Nigeria government for disobeying the order of the court. That's what Supreme Court did here. Now let us see how they manipulated the situation. In a twist, the court then granted a stay of execution of its judgment after the federal government told the court it would be appealing to the Supreme Court. Now, how did the court grant a stay of execution? The judges that ruled over the case were removed. We are actually victimized by the federal government immediately. Victimized by the federal government and replaced by federal government people in order to grant a stay of execution. Stay of execution. Colonial rule. Law of the colonials. They granted it. So that's it. I think this is the end of the news. They actually entertained this. So in my submission in this, you will see the irregularities coming from the Supreme Court, which is called the apex court of the land, which is not supposed to have such irregularities. And Supreme Court should know better that there could be a trial in, between a trial. A trial within a trial is possible in a court of law. Now, and that is the trial that Supreme Court actually trial within a trial, which actually enables enabled appeal court to rule in favor of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu due to the extraordinary rendition, which denies court the jurisdiction of the matter. So court cannot entertain a matter that it has no jurisdiction over. It is not possible. Any court that does that is doing it off the book. Jurisdiction is very, very important. You cannot contravene the law in order to claiming that you want to uphold the law. If your law says, if you catch a criminal, you don't slap them. And when you catch that criminal, you slap them. In fact, you have weakened the case that you have against that criminal because you have slapped them. The law can release that criminal on the basis that you have slapped them. The law can do that because you cannot contravene the law in order to claim that you want to uphold the law. It's not possible. It doesn't happen. So Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, tortured, and the court knows about it. The court acknowledges that he was kidnapped, he was tortured, and he has no jurisdiction to try him. And the court acknowledged that. Yet the court overruled the acknowledgement, nullified the acknowledgement, and now took him back to the lower court for continuous trial. That is actually, defaming. In fact, what will I call it? It is a juvenile, kind of judgment. It is juvenile to me. It doesn't make sense. The Supreme Court of Nigeria behaved juvenile. It does not make sense. A blind man, a stupid person, once they read this, they will see the contradictory, issues against the Supreme Court and their federal government. They will know that this judgment was not delivered within the ambit of the law. It was delivered, should I call it? It was delivered arbitrarily. I don't know if I am grammatically correct in that, because grammar is not our thing, but we are trying to push. But it is important for you to know that it is delivered, with an, with ulterior motive. The judgment of Supreme Court was delivered with ulterior motive. It is they took it personal. It is not done within the law. Because if you read it, you will find the irregularities there. You acknowledge this, but you don't acknowledge that. You propose a lawsuit filed separately, but you have forgotten that a trial could be, done within the trial. And now, not only that a trial could be done within a trial, now you are now undermining the High Court of Umuahia, which actually ruled against the federal government for invasion of the house. So when you put these things together, you will know that there is no justice system in Nigeria. And I am not being prejudiced because we want to separate from Nigeria, but I am being realistic because that is what it is. Now, what do you expect people to do? And because we know there are individuals who are in the political space in Biafra land, who are aiding and abetting the insecurity in Biafra land, because those who are actually perpetrators of this insecurity in Biafra land, they are the ones who are who are supporting the federal government. Because if we have a representative from Biafra land, there is no way Mazen Nnamdi Kanu will be in detention while Sunday Igboho is released. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu cannot be in a detention while Sunday Igboho is released. It will never happen. Well, because you don't have representatives, what you have there is bunch of hypocrites. Bunch of hypocrites. Very, very wicked people who does not actually care about anything. The only thing they care about is themselves. Those are the people you have as representatives. Now, how do you now do these things? Those we have as a representative have shown us that the killing and the maiming, kidnapping, and over police in Biafra land and military invasion of people's homes and the demolition and bombardment on people's home is being aided and abetted by the federal government through those that are representing you from the lower, echelon. Now, I want you to know those who are actually aiding and abetting all this insecurity, and those who they claim they are representing you using the money that belongs to you and them to secure themselves, moving with a convoy, moving with side security. I think it is high time we boycott those people moving with security so that they will feel the fear. They will feel the fear that ordinary person is feeling on the ground when they are moving around, when they are traveling, when they are, they will feel that sense of, fear that you have been feeling. If you are able to boycott the use of security, be it private or be it police or army, let them drive themselves. Since they like insecurity, let them live with it. Let them live with it. Since they love insecurity, at least it will teach them a lesson. If you want to exempt people, you exempt maybe governors. If it's even important to exempt them because they are the part and parcel of those representing you. And all these millionaires or billionaires who are going to sell you penny, half, they will come back using Mopo, bodyguard, the army. God punish all of them. They should walk around since they like insecurity without security. Otherwise, if you don't, if we are able to achieve that, you will find these people looking forward to fight insecurity in our land. We are not part of Nigeria. They have shown us. We didn't show them. They have shown us that we are not part of Nigeria. From the demolition of our people properties and the victimization of our people from the marketplace in Lagos, and the depriving you of seaport, depriving you of international airport, depriving you of center of tourism attraction. They have deprived you everything, which creates job opportunities for your graduates. They have deprived you everything. So what then are you looking for that will show you that you are not seen as part of Nigeria? What are you looking for? It is your ignorance that is only the reason why so many of you are sitting, not seeing exactly what is going on. The law is not on your side. Nothing is on your side. Everything is working against you. And the only thing you are doing is laying around. Some people were paid to be in the media space, and Facebook is not restraining them, just like you see Facebook is restraining me. In this Facebook page that we are watching, at least if we have more than 19,000 followers there. But how many people did you see Facebook is inviting? How many? Maybe less than, I don't know how many, because the numbers I'm seeing here is coupled with the rest of the number from YouTube. So it is important for you to see, but those who are maligning the activities of IPOB, when they come online, Facebook release them, YouTube release them. Why? Because we are actually flagged and profiled. Our pages are flagged and profiled. When you are actually radical about what you speak, once you mention Nigeria, you will find the number reduced. You ask Facebook why. You ask YouTube why. They will not. Because these people are actually fighting us from every angle to make sure. And of course, the people you are working with, they are not even helping the matter. They are not, because they are looking for gossip. So many of you in the comment section, all you are looking for is gossip. But what you will go and write junk, if the media warriors are not sharing press release, you should stop following them. Rubbish. Rubbish. You never ask yourself that those press release, how many people have access to see it when it happens? Do you never ask yourself, so just like the way you cannot see, the way you cannot see my video when I release it, Facebook will not even give you notification on that. You believe that once a press release is released, then everybody, it will come to notification of everybody. Don't you know that there are people you will not see on your face, people you follow on Facebook, you will not see them for months. You will not see them for months on Facebook. You will asking yourself, are these people still on Facebook? Because Facebook take you away from them, take them away from you. That's the way it is. So in a situation whereby some of you are just sentimental, believing that the job we are doing here, you are paying us, or believing that when we come and talk here, you are doing us a favor by sharing it. You are not doing me a favor, you are doing yourself a favor. If you know you cannot do what I am doing, do the one you can do. Share the video. Maybe you believe if you share the video, Judge Money monetize his page, you will get some money. Go and make this type of video I'm making and monetize it. Go and make this type of video I am doing, monetize it. All of you, many of you are cowards. All you do is just sit in comment section commenting rubbish. Commenting rubbish. That's what you do. And you, same person commenting rubbish, you will see a gossip, you will start sharing the video. Wherever you see a gossip that does not make sense to the struggle, you will be the first person to share it. That's what you do. But you will say, this person is like he's becoming Sabo. You will be the first person to call someone Sabo, but you have never worked positively to help the struggle. Not even one day. But you will be the first person to look for who is becoming Sabo. Ọ bụrụ ụkwụ a ka na-amaghị eje eje ụmụahịa. Ọ bụrụ ụkwụ a. But we continue doing what we are doing. My own drive is that I am not doing it for you. I'm doing it for the sake of myself and my posterity. That's what I am doing, whom I am doing it for. It's not for you. It's for myself. So if you want to continue to look for who is Sabo, continue to look for who is Sabo. If you want to continue to tell people if they are not doing this, you don't continue. That is your business. I am not doing it for you. Get that into your thick skull. I'm doing it for myself. That is my drive. And that is why I don't look back. Whenever I feel like I want to come and do something, I come and do it. If you know you can, you come and do it better. That is it. So that is by the way. And of course, we are going to continue another day. And it is very, very important. It is very, very important. There is also a comment I was tackling the other day, somebody talking about the religion speeches and all that. In terms of that, in my own understanding, we are not fighting any religion. We are not fighting any religion. But if you see your comrade against any religion, if you don't have a superior argument to use to counter what they are doing, you don't need to insult them, because there are still quality they might possess that you don't have. You don't need to insult them. Rather, find a way to give them a challenge through their philosophy. You challenge them through their philosophy. You learn how to have a healthy, debate. After the debate, you have a handshake. Everybody goes their way, because it doesn't put money into your pocket. It is all about, we know that we are going through the route of going back to our root. Now, of course, many people, many Christian churches has adopted nwoke ịla nwanyị, nwanyị ịla nwanyị, ịnụ nwanyị ịbịa. So what are you going to call it when it comes to your land? You will call it, no, this one is not Christianity, it is Christianity plus. That's what you are going to call it. Because every place where it is signed, it is adopted, they wear them in church. Are you going to call it, no, this one is not Christianity, it is Christianity plus, or it is anti-Christianity? Who introduced Christianity to you? The same people who are introducing such law to you, such bill to you. So how are you going to run away from that? How are you going to be insulting people who tell you that, no, we don't want this type of Christianity in our land? It takes you to use a superior argument and educate them. You must educate them if you don't agree with them. If I don't agree with you, I will disagree with you. I will give you reason why I am disagreeing with you. I will show you my own philosophy. Somebody was asking me the other day, are you done? When I was talking about this thing, they said, no, you left the struggle and you're talking about the issue of religion and that. And I told that person, there is time for everything. By the time I will come back to that issue of religion and our history telling and our root, if you are already having bug in your stomach for the ones I have done, believing that I will leave it behind, prepare to have high BP, or you go and get high BP medication, because you are going to have high BP. I am not going to be apologetic about the history of our people. And don't forget, we Our culture, our history is rooted in the Bible, in the scripture. Let me not call it Bible, because in the scripture, because we are the people of the book. And until we meet again, stay safe, stay informed, share the video, and click the like button, because what we are doing is to make sure that we emancipate ourselves from this slavery called Nigeria that is being controlled by Britain. It is in benefit of Britain. They are controlling the man you put that placed himself there, because of course you didn't put him there. The one that you voted for is nowhere to be found after shouting obedient. He's nowhere to be found because he does not have your interest at heart. He is, because he knows if he push further, he will not have opportunity in the next 4 years, because he's already chilling and waiting for next 4 years. That's what he's waiting for. And all of you are going to die of hunger and starvation. All of you are going to die through Mediterranean Sea, trying to cross over to the land of your oppressors. All of you, many of you are going to die doing that, waiting for next 4 years to see if things are going to be good. Maybe next 4 years, the idiots who call themselves celebrities will come and tell you, get your PVC again. They will shout it. They don't have shame. They will do that. And you will run around and say, get your PVC. Yes, get your PVC. It is our turn now. When Jagaban already planned everything. You don't know Jagaban is aware of, is actually in the conspiracy that actually kidnapped Mazen Namde Kanu, because he doesn't want to lose its turn. But the biggest question is, why is Sunday Boho released? And then Namde Kanu is in jail, then in solitary confinement, and the Supreme Court is talking, out of order. They are putting the law out of order. Those are questions you need to ask yourself for you to see that you are third-class citizen, not even second. You are third-class citizen. And the earlier you understand it, the better for you. The earlier you understand those who call themselves your representatives, they are slaves. Just that they are enriching their pocket. So they have no choice. They will have no choice until we meet again.